Hi guys, so here I am in front of the camera now. So up until this point I've been hiding behind videos and articles and pretty pictures, things like that. But I thought it was about time to get out in front of the camera. Everyone else is doing it, so why not? Why shouldn't I? So this is the first time, so please be gentle, be kind. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to go for it anyway. So in this video, I want to share a little bit about my story with cancer, with stress, with meditation, and hopefully it helps you in some way, shape, or form, or maybe it just helps you to understand a little bit more about what I do and how I can potentially help you or a loved one. So, my story in 2013, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. So, it was 10 days before Christmas. Life really came pretty much crumbling down at that point. I was young, had a young family, business, and I had a diagnosis. And from that point, there was 2 years of very, a lot of harsh lessons, a lot of learning. I lost the business, I lost the marriage, I had to sell a house. Really, life came tumbling down, and I was at pretty much rock bottom. So I suppose when you're down there, there's only one way to go, and that's back up again. So I'm on the way. I've been clear for 2 years now, and what I do now for a job, I'm very blessed to absolutely love what I do, and I'm very honoured that people let me into their lives when they're at their most vulnerable, when they have a diagnosis of cancer or a chronic disease. So, my role, what I call myself, is a chronic disease coach, and for me, what that is somebody that helps guide and mentor and help that person navigate their way through diagnosis, through treatment, to recovery, hopefully, and potentially with cancer through to end of life transition, which I've had to do with some people. So, like I said, it's a real honour for people to let me in, and I take it very seriously what I do. So, a little bit more about my journey with cancer. So, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I had a couple of relapses. So, relapse is where the cancer goes away and then it comes back. So, I had that a couple of times. So, I had cancer 3 times, which is pretty crazy. Now, the thing is with testicular cancer, it is the most treatable cancer that you can get, if you can get it. Girls, I'm sorry you can't get it, but boys, you can. You should not be getting relapses. You shouldn't be dying from testicular cancer. So, why did I have a couple of relapses? I was doing everything right. I was doing the right oncology, so the chemotherapy that's shown to have a very, very high rate of efficacy, the way that it works on it. I was doing the right nutrition, the right supplementation. From the outside, it looked like I was doing everything right, yet I kept having relapses. The first time after 6 months, the second after 3 months, it just kept coming back, and it was getting more and more aggressive each time and more chemo resistant each time, which is where the chemo doesn't work on it very well. So why was it happening when I was doing everything seemingly right? And it came to a point, after the second relapse, that it became very obvious that I was missing something. There was something that, what wasn't I ticking off? I was ticking all these boxes. There must be something, left undone. And it became very apparent that it wasn't to do with what I was doing. It was the way that I was doing it. It was the environment that I was doing it in. So yes, I was doing everything right from the therapeutic point of view, but the environment that I was trying to do it in was incredibly stressful. It was very chaotic, very hectic, and it was very stressful. And I know in my heart of hearts that stress is the thing that held my treatment back each time. I was trying to get the result in an environment that wasn't conducive to getting well, and I wasn't getting well. I wasn't getting the complete clear. It kept coming back again and again. So it was at that point that I had to change the way that I was doing it, and also my relationship to the way that I was doing it. So this is where stress reduction and meditation came in and was a really, really important part for me, because sometimes you can't change your stresses, can you? But you can change your relationship to your stress, and so that's what I sort of had to do. And it wasn't until that I changed that really critical factor that things started to change, and I became well, and I continued to stay well. I know that my body, myself am very sensitive to stress, so I take stress management very seriously. And as a health practitioner, treating a lot of people with chronic conditions, not just cancer, but autoimmune conditions, stress-based conditions, gastrointestinal conditions, I see people coming in day after day, client after client, every day with the same old story: stress, stress, and more stress. Now, I've done a video on this, it's called the allostatic load. And what I'm seeing is people's allostatic loads are just too high. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I encourage you to go watch it. But to sum it up, is that your allostatic load is the lump sum of all your stresses. So if you were to get, what I say in the videos, get yourself an industrial set of scales, you're going to need industrial ones, and pop a basket on there. That's your stress basket. And then have a look at all the stresses in your life. This is physical stresses, mental, emotional, social, spiritual stresses, financial stresses, familial, occupational stresses, and start to put them into that basket. Now, you're going to see this basket is starting to fill up a lot. So how much does that basket weigh? Okay, that's what you're carrying around. In medicine, this is what they call the allostatic load. And most people's allostatic loads are way, way, way too high. Mine was through the roof. But most people's are. And the people that I'm seeing coming in day after day, they've just got so much stress in their life, and this could be old trauma that hasn't been integrated. This could be present trauma. This could be the trauma of their diagnosis or the stress of their diagnosis, and everything else going on, their financial state and everything. And what it is that this stress is interfering with their health, and it's making people really, really unwell. And for me, it was doing that for me, and I've seen this with all my patients. And so the reason why I bang on so much about stress is that it has such a capacity to make you unwell. When this allostatic load is really, really high, the chemistry of stress, as I call it, which includes things like inflammatory chemicals, the stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and there's all sorts of other neurotransmitters and other compounds that get released under stress. These stress compounds, or this chemistry of stress, interferes with the body. Stress is a full body major physiological event, and not one system in the whole body goes unaffected. Your hormones, your immune system, your nervous system, cardiovascular system, gastrointestinal system, you name it, even your little pinky toe probably, it gets affected with stress in a negative way. And so when you've got a high stress load or allostatic load, it really impacts on your health and has a massive capacity to make you unwell. And that's what I'm seeing clinically in the clinics that I work at every single day. Stress playing a major role. Maybe not the complete cause, but a really big factor in it. So what I did for myself, and what I like to teach people, is how to deal with that stress better. And this is why I teach meditation, why I'm so passionate for one about it, because I've seen how much it affects people day in, day out. And also that there's a really powerful fix for the stress in your life. And it's your relationship to your stress. So it's all perceptual based, isn't it? So you can change your perceptions, and a really, really good way to change your perception is through meditation. So you're changing your relationship to stress or your life. Because sometimes we can't change the stresses in our life, like our financial situation, or maybe the career that we do. Not easy just to change a career like that. But what you can do is change your relationship to it, and meditation helps to provide that. It also directly decreases the chemistry of stress in your body, which is absolutely fantastic and hugely healing to the body. So that's why I teach meditation. Because one, it's affected me so much, and I see it affecting all my patients. I can teach them a very, very powerful medicine, and I call meditation a medicine. I call it meditation medication. And you can give yourself a daily dose if you want to. All you need to do is learn how to, and it's really quite simple. The way that I teach meditation is usually in a workshop or a course. Way of doing it. I find it's the best, because what you need to do is to understand intellectually what's going on in your body when it comes to meditation, and then you have to actually apply the techniques, which is the easy part. The actual techniques to meditation are so basic it's not funny, but what I've found is not easy for people to do is to keep up meditation long term. They do it for a little while, and that's fantastic, but then life gets busy, and then it drops off, and they never get back on that bandwagon again. So, if you look at human behavior and what drives human behavior, it's our value system. So how much value we place on something. And the things we value the most, we put the most time, effort, and money into. So the way that I teach my courses and workshops is to really build as much value into it as possible. And that's to get you to understand it on a really deep level. So you get that light bulb moment where you go, I see, I get it. I get why I need to be doing this every day, 20 minutes, once, twice a day. And, if I do my job well in the course or the workshop, you will meditate long term. And most of my students meditate long term. It's not just a little fatty thing they do for a little while because it's hip or somebody tells them that they should be doing it. My goal is to get you to be meditating consistently over the long term, because that's where the results are with anything. It doesn't have to be meditation, it could be budgeting, it could be playing tennis, it could be surfing, whatever. You put the effort in consistently over the long term, it reaps dividends. And meditation has such a huge return on investment for your health, physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, even financial health, familial health, our relationships, that it's worth spending time, effort, and money on. And that's my job to do that. And it's the way that I teach my courses, is to give you that intellectual understanding, the head stuff, and then get into the heart with the experience of it, and get you to get the heart stuff as well. And it's that combining of the head and the heart stuff, the intellectual knowledge and the experience of the deep meditative space, that I believe is the kicker for it, that keeps you meditating longer term. So if you ever learn meditation with me, which I encourage you to, you don't have to, but I enjoy doing this, and I believe that I can get you meditating long term. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the science behind it. We're going to get our science geek on and have a look at what's going on in the body, in the brain, in the nervous system, everywhere in the body, how stress affects us and how meditation affects us. So you get it intellectually. You go, I know why I need to be doing this. And then we apply the techniques, and I teach you all sorts of techniques when it comes to meditation. So, stress is a big deal. I believe it's more important than what you put in your gob, what you put in your mouth, what your diet. Diet's important, and everyone focuses a lot on physical health. But I think, mental, emotional health comes even before that. Stress affects us directly with that chemistry of stress, how it interferes with the body, but it also indirectly affects us, doesn't it? So it decides for us what to put on our plates, so what to eat. It decides for us, or has an impact on our mind, and the mind is what tells us what to eat, or our mind tells us how much to socially interact with our friends, or how much to go and move outside, so exercise. So stress affects us directly with the chemistry of it, but it also affects our choices and our decisions. So it affects indirectly and directly, and this is why it can have such a massive impact. And diet's important, but I believe stress is even more important. And we talk about this on most of my courses. We talk about my 3 pillars of health, and nourishment, stress, and toxicity, and how this relates to health, and how you need to support that in all areas of your life. So I might just wrap it up there. It's almost 15 minutes, but thank you for listening. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about where I come from, a little bit more about my story with cancer, with chronic disease, what it is that I do, as a chronic disease coach, how I can potentially help you or someone that you know who has a chronic disease. Also around stress and meditation, and how I can maybe help you to manage your stress better. I highly encourage you to have a look at that. If you want to have a look at my workshop, I'll put some information up after this video on the screen. So as soon as I finish, there'll be a screen that comes up with the workshop dates. If you want to go onto my website and check it out, again, the website link will be at the end of the video. Have a look at the workshop. I think you'll really enjoy it. I look forward to you coming along, and I look forward to meeting and working with you soon. Thank you for listening, and signing out. Cheerio.